immediately NBC.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I mean NBC is at least
so liberal. My gosh, it's so liberal.
Yeah, but at least there's some connection to reality. But it now goes the other way because they're
no, they make you care too much. And Fox News, you want to just watch the world burn, and then NBC, you want to help put out the fire. So it's like burn, fire, burn, fire. Okay.
That's one way to confuse everything in your brain.
My brain is. Remember what I said? It's full of foam from foam parties. I think that it rotted my brain to start with it. When can I share my screen?
I think you can just jump in, Rory.
Okay, share screen. No, it says disabled share screen.
I need to figure out how do I give you permission. Let me just find that.
I'm with it. Hey, you can give me permission.
I can. So all I can do is I can make you host. So that means you're host, and if somebody wants to be admitted, then you'll have to do that.
I'm fine. I kind of get paid for this, so I'm all good in the hood. One day you guys will also get paid for loving developers. Philip, I believe in you. You can do this for a living. All you have to be is stupidly extroverted and not value, your personal time or freedom or social expectations, and travel often and every day, and then you'll be fine. And I see Neil Zeman is here. Thank you so much for coming, Neil, and representing the .NET team, the Microsoft Java team, aka .NET. So which is great. Okay, so I'm going to share screen now. I can do that. And now I'm going to share which screen? Desktop, Microsoft PowerPoint. Oh my God, that is okay. You guys should see my screen. It says it's a PowerPoint thing. Let's go back here. Do you see that? Okay, so good news is this is going to be an awesome presentation. Bad news is that I spent most of the weekend vomiting. So if I'm not my usual vibrant self, that's because I am a little bit ill. But it's fine. I have the Quarkist shirt that Philip gave me because he's my dear friend, and it's such a great shirt. So I'm going to wear this until I have other clothes. Okay, cool. So let's start now. This is about monitoring Java applications on Azure, but in truth, it's not only Java. You can monitor any applications on Azure. I'm going to show you from my point of view monitoring, but I'm also going to do a few demos and show you the new features on monitoring on Azure with application services, and you can kind of just get this working. There's a chat there. I'm monitoring the chat also, so you guys can chat me and ask me questions. So you can access all of this material on aka.ms/monitor-java. Now, when you go to aka.ms/monitor.java, or you go to the QR code, you go here to monitoring Java applications in Azure. Now, this was edited and formulated and published by me, Rory. I work for Microsoft. Hi, everyone. I'm a senior developer advocate for Microsoft, focusing on Java and accessibility. And this is one of my responsibilities, is to create content for developers. And monitoring Java applications on Azure allows you to look at the many different monitoring strategies that we have on Azure. And with all honesty, most clouds, because monitoring Java applications in Azure actually uses open tracing at the background, and most companies use open tracing in the back. So if you understand Azure, you're going to understand all of that. So when you start on this this Learn module in Microsoft Learn, you don't really have to have any prerequisites except a Azure subscription, because what I did there, when you set up your sample environment, and we'll go through here, is I use Cloud Shell, Azure Cloud Shell, to set everything up. So you clone the repo there, and then you actually open a Cloud Shell. So you can go here onto Cloud Shell, and you run the whole script there. So you don't have to have MySQL installed, Java installed, nothing. Everything is just done for you. And then we'll go through the example of what it installs as we progress through the slide deck. And that's the novelty I want to give you. And I really do suggest you do that. You can see there, I've got 4.9, only 13 people, but rated 13 people rated at 4.9 so out of 5 stars. So it's a really great thing. It takes you about an hour, but that's mainly because the setup script takes about half an hour, but it's completely uninterrupted. You don't have to do anything. Once you run the script, it takes half an hour and sets up your whole instance though. So let's look at the monitoring now. Okay, so please follow me at Rory Pretty. My children need to eat, and I do some really great memes and jokes and stuff there. So follow me on at Rory Pretty. So Azure supports all monitoring and analytics partners. We have so many partners, and most clouds actually support many of these. You've got AppDynamics, Splunk, Prometheus, Elastic, Microfix, Atlassian, Datadog, Dynatrace, New Relic, and many more. And there's really so many. But I'm here to speak to you about one that you might not know, which is Azure Monitor. So Azure Monitor is the standard monitoring tool that we use. It's more of a parent than it is a tool, and it kind of encompasses. I went to private school, so sometimes my words don't come out right. It encompasses a lot of small other components. So Azure Monitor contains something called Application Insights. And Application Insights is a programming tool to monitor your applications, but it also contains Container Insights to go and inspect your containers to look at exactly what your containers are doing. It contains Cosmo DB Insights, metrics and logs, storage insights, and VM insights. And once you understand the basics of Azure Monitor or any monitoring tool, you can understand how to monitor your Kubernetes clusters, your application insights, your databases, because they're all very similar in monitoring. Okay, so this is your sample modern application. Let me switch my aircon on here. No, not 23 degrees, man. It's bloody boiling in here. We'll make it thing is that auto, yes. Okay, so you've got your microservice application. It's connecting to your database there. You've got your legacy VM workloads. And then you've got your user access there that accesses that. And in my demo, I'm going to show you all of that in a very nice demo. And we're going to try to break it because I really like going off script in my demo. We're going to pummel it and then break it and see exactly what happens here. So let's look at some of the features that you get. Now, this is how Azure Monitor works. So you've got your applications, your infrastructure, your Azure platform, and your custom sources. And it streams. I'm going to admit someone. It streams and collects it into metrics and logs. And then those metrics and logs are then piped into a secondary downstream kind of, what do you call it, funnel. So you've got the start of the funnel is applications, the raw logs. Then it's collected into metrics and logs into Azure Monitor. And then you perform certain actions on it downstream. So you have insights, visualize, analyze, respond, and integrate. So let's go through them. Insights, you've got application insights, container, VM, and network insights. And these give you a view, like a visual representation and a very quick kind of report on your information. If you want to customize it, then you use Visualize, and you can use dashboards, Power BI, and workbooks. And we'll look at some of those as we progress through there. If you want to analyze it, we've got Metrics Explorer and Log Analytics, and we're going to look at examples of that. If you want to respond, then there's alerts, action groups, and autoscale. Alerts are just incredible. We've incorporated AI alerts there. You'll see how we set it up then. And then integrate event hubs, logic apps, and ingest and export APIs. That's if you want to trigger something like a GitHub, DevOps workflow. You want to use messaging tools to actually integrate. And so top of the funnel, you have your actual raw. It goes into your metrics and logs. And then you have your response that you can do multiple tools from that. And that's really how most monitoring works. So let's look at some nice screenshots that we have some monitoring scenarios. So the first scenario, and let me just make sure. Yeah. So the first scenario is your application insights. It's maybe a little bit too small there, but application insights. Oh, let me switch on my magnifier. I've got my Logitech presenter here, and I want to switch on. Let's just see here, and I haven't actually done this in a while. And not pointer laser. magnify. Let's see if I can do this on the fly here. So, okay, let's go there and magnify. There we go. Look at that. So that's giving me a bit of a headache. There's application insights, last 24 hours, and Acme front end. So you can actually view the Acme front end, which is the HTML. And in our example, I'm going to show you, I've actually instrumented a front end Angular page. Yeah, Angular is still a thing. And I'm going to show you how to instrument that. And then it goes through a certain number of calls to the payment pricing worker. And then the payment pricing worker will speak to a payments gateway or a event bus. And then that'll speak to an inventory store or a cache. And then you might have the authentication to a SQL database. So this is your application tracing, distributed tracing view. And every time you click on one of those, you would also get a different view for the payment processor worker. You can see there, you'll get top failing request by name, slowest request by name, and all failing requests there or information. And that's the basics of distributed tracing. It gives you the view to drill down to the nth level. And I'll show you an example that we have there and how far you can drill down. You start off with the HTML or your client-based engagement, and you can drill all the way through down to the dependencies, which is your service bus, your databases, all the way down to that with application insights. So once we have that, let's click through here. Then you also want to see each individual container that you might be running. So this is a Kubernetes cluster. And you can see there on the Kubernetes cluster, you've got your cluster, your nodes, your controllers, and your containers. So this is a Minecraft. We bought Minecraft, we like it. And each one of those you'll see there has warm or cold. And this is your node level about what it is ready for a specific container. I think this is the official Minecraft Redmond container there. And then you've got your Nginx here. Now, each one of these here has the amount of containers, the restarts, the uptime, the node that it's deployed to, and the trend. The health bar is, I'm not sure what the million stands for here, but 95 percentile for trends. And then each one of those pods there, you can get the view for that. And this is very important and this is Azure Container Registry, because this is container insights. So it's not necessarily to click through and to see each one of those, but rather, I'm going to switch off the magnifier. That's making me so nauseous. Let's go back there and let's go magnify. No, I want the laser back. The magnifier really made. I actually literally was getting motion sickness from that. So yeah, so you can click through that. Now, once you click through all of that, the VMs or the pods, then you get the ability to go into the alerting. So in this alert here, we've set up SEV 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And these are alerts based on custom custom alerts and SEV levels. You can see there's smart groups, preview, total alerts. And I'm going to show you how to set those up, though. And you can set SEV ones. Now, every time you have a alert trigger, you manage an action group. And an action group is a process that you're going to perform a certain action. It might be send an email. It might send a different type of notification. It might be shut down a server. So the alerts are based on specific criteria. Now, how do you get that criteria? We're going to get to that now. So what happens if you want to do custom queries? Now, this is something called Kusto. Kusto query, it's a language there. It's like a SQL query. And you can see in that example here, plot to monitor, 10-second request processing SLA of 99 percentile, pin on Azure dashboard. And this is going to look at a performance for a application. And you can see there, as it progresses there, you can actually trigger alerts there. And this is Kusto, and I'm going to show you how to set up the alerts. And I've already got it in my demo. And then you got your dashboard. And this is a basic monitoring and dashboard that we have here. And a lot of this is already set up for you. And I'll show you on the Azure Spring Cloud dashboard that a lot of this is out of the box. So you've got top failed requests by operation name. Failures are very important. And each one of those, you can see get customer or get robot. You want to drill down into there. You've also got the user requests, basic Brazil, and United States. Bit too small there, but you can see there where they're coming from. The overview timeline, server processing time, failed requests. You got the application map, availability tests, live servers, system updates, anti-malware assessment. So that's the security section there. Service map, network performance monitor, retail store VMs, and container monitoring solutions. Now, this is all great, but this is kind of not customized to each individual customer. So you really want to change it, like a Kibana dashboard, manipulate it and make it your own. You also want to have a look at the network topology. So in this example here, we have an Azure data center, and this is network insights. So you get this nice view here. This is a traffic analyzer and with network insights, and this is called the Traffic Analytics Geo Map. And this will say how many VNets you need, subnets, VMs, and give you an overview of the round-to-round, inbound and outbound traffic flow and percentage of your networks, and how are you catering for them, for each one of them for your subscription. So this is network insights with Traffic Analyzer. So let's look at the scalable and smart alerting. So when I started looking at alerting, I wanted to scale out and look at CPU. The biggest problem is that you don't know how difficult it is, or you don't know the process to look at setting a baseline. So if you can see here, I've got a new action rule, and you can configure suppression. Suppression is if you want to suppress on a Sunday or a certain time when you know that action rules shouldn't trigger. But once you have your action rule, you need to set up a baseline. Now, the baseline, it can either be static or dynamic. A dynamic baseline rule, you can see there at the heart of it, so the heart of there or low, it actually analyzes the normal baseline effect for each of that and then sets it higher. Now, if the dynamic to greater or less than count and threshold medium, so if that line there goes a little bit too high, it's going to trigger an action rule and it's going to trigger an action. So as a result, you don't really have to know everything about all of your monitoring to really have alerting. So you can have Sev1 is a threshold sensitivity of high. So if it goes above your certain server requests, in this example, your CPU, then it'll trigger certain requests or email you. And Sev2 or 3 might be medium sensitivity or low sensitivity. So it gives you the ability, but you do need to have historical data. So you leave it on for like 3 or 4 days. It'll track exactly what you're doing under load, and then it will build up a kind of theme to say, this is what you can expect. And if it goes above or below that theme, that's not business as usual. So how does this all fit into a workflow? So let's look at the sample alert management workflow we recommend. Oh, so Abel has joined the room. So, okay, there we go. And Abel has, yeah, okay, cool. Hello, Abel. But by the way, Abel, you won a gift voucher from JetBrains. Please speak to Abel, to Cornel to get your voucher. We did a random draw and you were the random person. So you've got your alerts, and you can define actionable alerts, metrics and logs, smart detection, the severity and description. Now, once you have your Abel's, I think I'm in repetitive motion here. Abel's can't join. Okay, so let's just go. I'm going to just close that then. I don't think Abel can join. Let's just close that. Okay, so once you have that, you might want to suppress it. So on weekends, certain levels you don't want to have alerting. But if you don't want to suppress it, you can set up auto remediation. So if a level goes above for like CPU, you want to start up another node. So you can auto remediate, and you do that with auto scaling. So if you say, if the CPU level goes above 10%, then please start up another server. If you can't auto remediate, then you can email notification. But if you can't auto remediate, then you want to actually do bug file, custom emails, RT management, and then maybe tie into a workflow, a Logic App workflow, or webhooks. If it's a very high severity, then you actually want to do SMS push voice or chat ops and get through and do a call, literally a physical call to the people on call to handle those issues. So this is the sample app alert workflow that we're going to look at as we progress. So let's look at metrics, logs, and visualization. So if you remember there, we've looked at monitoring, we've looked at alerts, We're going to look at now metrics and logs. So your normal logs here are Kusto queries. You can see there, and you can get some sample queries here. We're going to run through here. So you can run those queries there, and then you can set the time range, and you'll get results from that, though. Your metrics, you can set up basic metrics here. You can set up the query that in this example, it's transactions or the response. And you can get the API name, and you can get those queries here for metrics. Now, workbooks, if you've ever worked with workbooks, they're very similar. I'm trying to remember another tool that has them, though. But they're like run books. You know, if a long time ago when I used to work in DevOps, we had run books, and those were SH scripts there. So you can actually run these here. So quick starts, failure analysis, key metrics, performance. And when you run those, they actually execute certain scripting that you can actually set up. And the run books usually also tie in to continuous monitoring in DevOps. You can see there, that's check health, Azure Monitor. And as you run a run book, and it will tie into certain elements here, then you'll get the output. It's still saying that I need to admit Abel and Daniel Gray. Okay, let's see what happens there. It says joining. And Abel's really not able to that's ironic. Abel's not able to that. So Cornel, have see if you can help him out there, but I don't know. Okay, so coming back here, that is everything I want to show you. So not too many slides. Now let's go into the demo, and I'm going to jump into the workshop, into the actual this code to get some of the examples. But I want to show you what I set up for today. But first, I want to show you how I got there. Very importantly, how I got there. And to do that, I'm going to spend 10 minutes of actually writing an app and publishing it to Azure. Okay, so here's my Visual Studio Code, the IDE of choice. And I've got nothing loaded here, so I'm going to clone an app here. So I'm going to clone a repo here, and I'm going to do https://github.com/roryp/spring-pet clinic. And I think that's it. Let's just make sure here. Let's go here and make sure that I typed that right. Pet clinic, spring pet clinic. Whoa, I got it first time. Let's see if I'm that clever. Let's go clone that, and I'm going to put this here into a new folder called Jug. No, let's call this Josie Jug. Okay, create, and then select repository location. So now I'm going to clone the Spring Pet Clinic. It's on my location, and that Spring Pet Clinic is the standard kind of example that I like to do. It's done by the Pivotal team, the VMware team, and it's just a pet clinic that has owners and vets, and we can run this locally here. And I'm opening the Java project here, and it's going to run the Microsoft OpenJDK. It's going to download all the Maven dependencies here, and it's going to inspect the Spring project there, and I'm going to have the Spring dashboard there. And yeah, so I can actually just run that here, and I'll show you what this actual project works. Now I'm going to push this to Azure, and I'm going to enable distributed tracing, and I'm going to show you exactly how we can actually do that. So that's logging here, and I'll show you how this works here. So that's on port 8080. Let me just close that there. Visual Studio, close you here. And if I go to Chrome and I go to port 8080, it's using a built-in H2 database. So there we go, Spring Pet Clinic, and I can go find owners, and that's running locally there, and it just works. But it doesn't have tracing. So let's look at how you can do that. So let's go to Visual Studio Code. I want to stop that there under my Spring Boot dashboard. Did I stop that there? I don't think I actually stopped it. Completed initializer. Wait, there we go. The workspace. Let's just close that. Close you and close you. Cool. Okay, so that's closed there. Now, if I'm going to push this to Azure, I can just go here and click on the white space here. And this is a new feature. Watch this. You can just right click there, and I can go just deploy to web app. And it will go in and find the jar that for the project. I don't even have to tell what jar it looks for. I can just go add config, and it's going to say to me, okay, Rory, this takes about 5 minutes. So you just need to be a little bit patient there. Let's make that a little bit. So select the web app. It's going to find if I do have an existing web app. So I'm going to go, no, create a new web app there. And I'm going to call this Josie Jug RPZA. Cool. Enter. Runtime stack, because it's Spring, so I'm just going to do Java 8 and then use the embedded web server. I'm going to use P1 V2 for the actual hosting. Now it's going to create the app for me on Azure, and it's also going to create the application insights instance. Remember, Azure Monitor is the high-level parent, and then you've got application insights, which is all of the metrics that takes all the information from Azure Monitor and gives you an application view. Now, if we were doing container view or VM view, then we would have to create a VM view, a VM insights, or a container insights. So it's creating a new web app, Josie Jug there, and I can click through that and see what the update is. I can also go to the Azure view here, and I can get a better view, an easier view with that here. I just want to, I bought a Logitech mouse here, the fanciest mouse ever, and I use it for zooming. So check this out. I can actually zoom in and out with the little mouse button. It's really nifty. It's my midlife crisis. So it's asking me to create a port. I'm going to use 8080, and now it's going to just start running, always deploy the Spring build there, and it's going to deploy it. Now it's already created the app. It's created the application insights, and now it just needs to publish the jar though. And then the one thing that I need to do is I need to actually, because it costs money, very little, few cents every time that you use application insights. It's data to and from. So it is going to prompt me when I go into the application to switch on application insights, because when you do that, you're gathering telemetry. And the telemetry is data. So you do have to kind of opt in for that. So deploying to Josie Jug, you can see there the deployment there. And then once that's deployed, we're going to go into the application app service there, and we're going to switch on application insights. So we created it, but we still have to switch it on. So there's the application there, and you can actually go start streaming logs. And that's going to actually stream the Spring logs that I have there, not the deployment. Deployment logs is deploying the jar, and then the Spring logs is the jar going to start up. So it's completed, and let's just wait for it to stream the logs. So yeah, so now it's going to take a few seconds there, and it's going to stream the logs though. So once that is happening, I can actually go in and switch on application insights while that is starting up. So I can go open in Portal. And this is going to, someone else wanted to join. Let me just open them up. So that's going to open up in the portal. And now I'm going to go into my application that we've just published, and the Spring Pet Clinic application. It does use an H2 database, but I've got the exact same thing working with Postgres here. And now I get a view of my application here, but I want to switch on application insights and add a little bit of telemetry. So I go into application insights here, and I turn it on. So it just says, do you want to apply? And it shows you how to instrument your application. But by default with Java and .NET, it's just switched on. And I'll show you what I mean there. So if you want to do custom instrumentation, it actually will tell you how to instrument it there, and you can go through on how to do that. But this out of the box, you'll see there, I've got my H2 database and my application, and I should be able to just view it. So let's go see on here, if it's running here. I want to go view the logs, start streaming logs. This should actually, there we go. The logs are there. And initiated warm request. Okay, so this should be done. So let's see if I right click on here and I go browse website. Yeah, great. Of course, this worked perfectly because all demos should all, and now if I go find owners, this is hosted on the Azure websites, and I go find owners, and it's pulling from the H2 database there. And let me just add a little bit of telemetry here. This demo is going absolutely brilliantly. I hope everyone is impressed. Glass ceiling smashed, but I'm going to show you the telemetry now. Let's go find some owners here, and veterinarians, find owners, cool. Now, the telemetry takes 2 to 3 minutes to gather. So in the background, you've got billions of events firing right now, and they're going down the funnel. Remember the funnel, the first thing is the actual service you're running, then it's alerts and metrics, and then it's the view insights, the Azure service that is going to collect all those events. So I've just gone in there, I've done find owners, I've done home, and yeah, no, VS Code makes it very smooth, but this is new. What I showed you right now a month ago didn't actually work as smooth as it is there. So I'm going to show you here. Where's no. Yeah, so here's my Josie Jug application insights, right? And we've activated. Now I'm going to click on view application insights data. Now this takes you to the actual application insights for your app. And you've got all of the niceties there that you can go through. So let's go see if we have some data there. So I'm going to click on application map, and we should see a nice little spider web of the application map with the telemetry we just did a second ago. There we go. I've got one instance, which is a server, and it's talking to a SQL server. But it doesn't have a lot of stuff in there, and I'm a little bit worried because it should actually have stuff coming through. Remember the funnel, there we go. 4 calls, 1.1 seconds. Now, if I click on that, it's going to say you can view it in logs, and there's application, but if you have compute for the other stuff activated, it doesn't really show anything because it's still gathering the telemetry. And this is the terrible part of demos, because it takes a little bit longer. So I'm going to just go back in there, give me a little bit more telemetry. A lot of the demos I actually set up the telemetry up front. You'll see there when I do the Azure Spring Cloud one, I actually had all the telemetry done up front because it's just too hair-raisy to actually last there. Okay, so let's just see here. We'll wait a few seconds, and it takes about 30 to 40 seconds there. So let's click on here and see if we get the telemetry there. Else we can actually go last 30 minutes, apply. We want to zoom out there. There's 12 calls. Yay, one more call there. And let's see if we can get some SQL calls there. Not just yet. So I have set up something up front just in case that takes a few too long here. So I have a backup that a colleague of mine actually set up just in case the telemetry takes a few too long seconds. They're called Martin Backup, Martin Freiberg. I work with him. He's on the OpenJDK team. And if we go into the Martin Backup here, you'll see here that on the application insights, I had set this up earlier today, and I can view the application insights. And I've got the backup running for the application map. We'll go back to my one. Let's see how long it takes, though. But then you get your Spring, your view here. Instance, not last hour. I want the last 4 hours here. And then you can have the distributed tracing. Let's make that bigger, which is, let's make that smaller. And not last 4 hours, last 12 hours. There we go. There we go. To the SQL database. So that's the instance here to the SQL database. And then you can click through the performance and you can investigate your failures. Let's make that a little bit smaller. You can investigate your failures. You can see the slowest request by name. So the get owners there is pretty slow, and you can see all failed requests. Now, if I go investigate performance, I can actually get a listing of the time range. So I can see all of the requests there. I can zoom into a request there, so I can zoom in there, and it will open up a request there. And then I can get the actual the services. So I can say get owners, and it will give me samples. But I can also drill down into the dependencies. You can see there are operations and dependencies. Now dependencies are everything except the code. So in that case here, the dependencies are the database. So I get all of the database calls for everything that it has called here. So I can see all the database calls here, and it will give me a view for, if I make that a little bit smaller, the SQL queries here. So I can actually click on that database call, select distinct owners, and drill down into the samples for here. So select the samples, and I can click on the samples. Now, that is the owner view. If I go back into here, so when I click on owners, find owners, that is the owner view coming through here. And I want to see how long it took there to actually come back. So I can go back into performance. I can see the response there. I want to choose one duration, which more than, yeah, there we go, 12 milliseconds. And I get an end-to-end transaction detail. Now I can actually see how long the controller took And each of the database calls, now it is an H2 in-memory database, so obviously it's going to take very short, but you can see there one took 12 milliseconds, 4 milliseconds, and I can click on each one of those SQL queries, and I can actually get the SQL query back there. So it's that select pet type, and yeah, distinct owner there, and I can see how long each one took though. That's great, but I did promise you a distributed tracing from the front end all the way to the front end. So what I've done is I've set up an Azure Spring Cloud instance and I've taken it to next level. So I want to show you this, except on the front end. But before I go there, I want to go back to my original app service. I want to see how long did that telemetry take and did it actually come back before we go off there. So let's go to application insights. Remember, the funnel can be quite big. There's millions, if not billions of alerts coming through here. Application map, last hour. Let's see if our H2 database actually got populated, or if it's still, so let's go click here. How many calls did we get there? Yeah, so it does take a little bit longer, so we can click on here. There we go. Yay! I recovered, but then you can see that's the Josie Jag one. It just took a few more seconds of my patience, and then you can go and inspect that though. So what we're going to see with the Azure Spring Cloud one is we're going to set up alerts. We're going to look at the alerting and action rules there, and I'm going to show you how to do the front end development. Now, the Azure Spring Cloud one is a microservice application. So if you see my screen here, the module, let's go view here. Someone's still trying to come in here. Okay, I lost that view. Let's go back into Zoom here, and I just lost it. I hope you guys can, there we go. Admit, 2 people I've never heard of. Okay, cool. And they see me, and welcome everyone. Okay, so the Azure Spring Cloud, I've got a Spring Cloud instance here. Let's go into here. So Azure Spring Cloud, and I've set up and I call it a booster shot because I actually want a booster shot. I'm double vaccinated, Pfizer shot, and I'm just waiting for. I'm like very much like the Americans. I want that booster shot. And this application here is based on the microservice version of Spring Cloud. Spring Microservices, Spring Pet Clinic. Except they've taken the customer service, vet service, visit service, and they separated them using Azure Spring Cloud, using a Eureka service, and we've hosted it on Azure Spring Cloud. And I've spoken about this before at the Josie Jag. So, like for example, the customer service there, it's an actual Java project, and you can go into the Learn module that I've also done on monitoring, and this is what it sets up. This example here is what it sets up on the Monitor-Java. It actually sets up this application here and sets up the customer service there. So all of these metrics now we're going to go and monitor, and I want to show what that looks like. So on your, let's make that a little bit bigger. On your Azure Spring Cloud instance, you have all of these apps, and you can access the app via the gateway service. So we're going to the gateway service here, and I can click on the production URL, and it's Spring Pet Clinic, and it opens up Spring Pet Clinic here. You can see there, and I can go into my owner services all, and it's exactly what we had there with the other one, except this is a microservice application. Every time I click that, it's actually going to a REST call and accessing all of that. So let's see that little bit of telemetry that I did right there. Let's close that. No. Let's see the little bit of telemetry. Where did I go? And I wanted to go. There we go. That little bit of telemetry is where and what that caused. So this is my. Let's go. Let me show you from the beginning. Here's Azure Spring Cloud. I'm on my Booster RPZA. Now I'm going to go to Application Insights here, and we're going to do a lot more now. And maybe we'll try to break it. So I can go, it's connected to that. I can click on Application Insights. And I've got my application map. I've got my live metrics. I've got my availability, failures, and performance. So let's go see what it looks like with the microservice with the tracing now. A little bit more complicated because now you've got all of these microservices running here. So now you've got API gateway, admin server, and I can click on the customer service here, and I can drill down and view it also there. So I can drill down into each of those services, but I want to do the last 4 hours here. and I can view the database request name and all of those requests here. And also go into the database, the pet SQL, and this is a MySQL database here. And I can drill down to each one of those there and for the microservice. But I want to show you the little hack that I did here. So in the API gateway, what I did is I instrumented the HTML. Let's go find it there. So under source, and I want to go resources, under static, the Angular page here. You can see the Angular page. So this page here is actually Angular. That's an Angular page there. Yeah, so this is an Angular page. Now what I've done is I've instrumented it manually. Where were we here? With a little bit of code to say text JavaScript, and use the monitor.azure.com JavaScript page there, and use that connection string for my instrumentation, which is the application insights. Let's just make it a little bit smaller there. So now every page, because this is Angular, that hits here, it's going to let me view the telemetry of every page view that I have here. So I can actually go into my Azure Spring Cloud instance here, and I want to go into application insights. Now I can go to application insights, but I can click on something else. I can click on, when I go into application insights, I can click on pages. So we're users and pages and events and funnels. It's a whole new section though, but I want to show you the application map, and I want to go last 12 hours, because what you'll notice here, it actually shows you the page and the client, the customer coming in from the page. So if we zoom in here, we've got the, there's my client. There's a client view there. So if I can click on that client view, I can actually view, investigate the performance there. And it's taken me 1.6 seconds to get into a transaction. Now, these are the client views, and you can see that's what I did earlier today, 12 o'clock PM. And then I kind of wasted some time and I got another second. And that's the one that we just did now, 7:48 PM, which is exactly what we did there. So I can click on that, and then I can see, let's zoom in onto the one we just did now. There's the one that we just did now at 7:48 PM. Took 3 seconds, and we're going to try break that. And I've got one sample here. And you can see that it took 3.6 seconds. I'm going to click through that and check this out. End-to-end transaction details with the page view here, because I instrumented that. Now it came in to the gateway. It found the actual resource handlers, which is the Eureka servers. It then went to the customer service here. So you can actually go through, and the customer service took X number of seconds here. So let's just make that a little bit bigger. There we go. So 3.6 seconds in all, and the actual database to find all of the owners only took 261 seconds. Now, this is where tracing gets interesting, because why the heck would that take 3.6 seconds? And this is where you trace it now. So if I look at there and I can see, wait a second, 3.6 seconds, I can drill down into the timeline for the viewer actually there, and go see exactly what he saw and how long he took there. I realized there in that split second that page load there, it wasn't dependent on the database. I've got the database transactions there. It wasn't dependent on the actual application. It was dependent on the CPU and app. So I can go into my metrics now for Azure Spring Cloud, for where we're, and into there we were. And now I can go into my metrics, and I can start logging the CPU and app usage here as it actually progresses through here. You can see there, it actually spikes a bit there. So 6% and everything like that. And I want to go, not average, yeah, so I can actually go there, but I can go to live metrics. Let's go to live metrics here. So let's go to application insights, and we want to go live metrics. Now, this is where we're going to break it. Because I'm going to actually go in and I'm going to stress test this with a couple of million transactions. So let's open up our Cloud Shell here. So let's open up Cloud Shell. And now I've got the customer service there, and I'm going to stress test, and I want to see exactly what happens with the customer service through the API gateway, and see how much metrics we can actually do. Someone wants to come in here. So I've got my bash script here. Now, if I go code, let me show you what I'm going to do when I stress test it. So if I go code and I've got a little script here, so I'm going to hit that with a curl of 1 million transactions, and I'm going to do no cache there, and it's going to get the owners and customers for a specific time, which is now. So it's going to get all of the owners for that service. So if I click on that and I put that into my browser, it's going to get literally like the entire database. It's going to just pull the JSON, the XML for the whole database. So let's go back here, and I can close that there, close editor, and I can just go sh script.sh, and now it's just going to pummel the entire instance in the database. I can just make that a little bit smaller, and I'm doing this on my little telecom line. Hey, so now you'll see there that everything is going to increase exponentially here. But I want my performance to be the same. So I can go into my instance for each one of my microservices, and now I can actually see the live metrics for each one of the microservices, including the API gateway. Now, I know the solution to the problem. The API gateway is not performing right here because everything comes through the API gateway. Now, what I've set up over here, and you can actually see the performance here, is the HTTP errors and the data here, the data in, let's go a little bit smaller here. And it might take a few seconds though, but I had set it up before. The API gateway is got only 1 CPU. Now, I didn't realize that when I tested it, but 1 CPU and 2 gigs of RAM. Now, the other services I actually set up with 2 gigs of RAM and, 2 CPUs. And you can see here, even the customer service here, it's really performant scale up here. I've got it set up 2 gigs and 2 CPUs. Now, how do we prove that? So first of all, I'm going to go in and I'm going to up the API gateway. It is going to stop what I'm doing now because it is a load balancer, and you can't just shut down a load balancer quite easily. But it does mean that when we look at the monitoring again, if we've done the right homework with the scale up, it's going to be quicker. So if I go here and I go, let's say 4 CPUs, and let's go 8 gigs, let's go 4 gigs of memory. I'm being way too gung-ho, and save that. We should actually see that it stops the entire process there because it's your load balancer, your API gateway. If I stop the customer service or the vet service, then it would be different here. Let me make sure no one's waiting. Okay. Yeah, so it said bad gateway because it's actually service temporary unavailable. So it really is shutting down everything here. But we should see with the metrics that the previous one that took 3 seconds, the next time we see that, it is faster, and it will track the progress of that through the metrics as we progress. So if we go here, it is going to take a few seconds for us to provision that. Okay, so default, and I'm just going to restart that also, the API gateway, since it's updating. Okay, so let's just wait here. It takes a few seconds here. While this is taking, I just want to re-update you that about the learn module that we have here. So this is, and you can access that aka.ms/monitor-java. And in that there, I go through alerting. So you can go see their introduction. It'll tell you about what is monitoring, the monitoring forms, logs, metrics, traces, and alerts. And then it will set up your example, and then it will show you how to actually run the distributed tracing. So it takes you through everything that I've showed you there, the tracing, the performance, the dependencies, everything that I've showed you there. It actually shows you how to do that, and the failures exception, a lot more than what I've showed you also though. So let's go back to the API gateway here, and hopefully it is behaving, refreshing. Oh, there we go. Do you see that the transactions actually started coming through? That's a great way for me to tell that it's actually working. Mental note, put that demo there and then we'll see. So now we've got our transactions running through here, and I'm going to just close that. Now I want to go into my front end page here, and I want to go in and do some logic here because I want to actually go see, is this going to be quicker? So this is a live demo, people. Understand, I'm doing a live demo and I've just upped the CPU of an instance there, and I want to go see, and it's going to tell me whether or not my telemetry improved or not. And this is really the basics of tracing. You found an error, only had 1 CPU and 2 gigs of RAM. It was slow as hell, 3 seconds to do that. We saw that it wasn't the app or the database here. It had to be the actual resourcing, the underlying resourcing here. I could have actually showed you the CPU was actually baselining at like 50% most of the time. I didn't have enough time to show you that, but it was really slow with 1 CPU there. And also when you have 1 CPU, you can't multitask really. So let's go back into here and let's see if we've got enough telemetry. Remember, it takes a few seconds to do the telemetry there. And then we're going to go back into Azure Spring Cloud. Let's close that out there, make that a little bit bigger, into that booster access there. And we want to go into the application insights, and we should see some page views now. So I went on there and I did some application maps, and I should see some page views here. Last 30 minutes here. Let's go apply. And I want to go to, there we go. There's my client. And I can click on my client, and I want to go investigate the performance. So let's see if the performance here, and I want to go local time. I want to go the last 30 minutes, apply. Now we have to wait for the funnel to hit. So we really want to wait for that funnel, and hopefully it will hit eventually. I did hit it with 1 million transactions at the same time, so it might take a few seconds though. But what we're looking for is from 3.6 seconds, and we're in the browser view. The server view here, you'll see there that there's quite a few transactions. Let's just wait the last 30 minutes. It's taking its willy-nilly time. So let's go browser view here. And while that's taking time, we are going to come back because I want to recover very nicely through that. Let's go last 30 minutes. That was done at 7:49. No, I want to come back there. And let me just go back and add. Did I do the right? Yeah, I did. Let's go back into that pet clinic there. Just make sure I can add a little bit more telemetry there. Make sure I get that view there. And you can see how fast it is now. I don't know if you've noticed that, but look how fast that is in comparison to that 3-second lead time that we had before with the 1 CPU and 4 gigs and 2 gigs of RAM. That is considerably faster. And I know that it is way faster. So let's go back there. So while that is performing that telemetry, let's go back in and show you how to do alerting. Well, let's do that. So alerts here, you can click on alerts. I'm going to admit someone there. So an alerts here. So now you can do an alert rule. So let's do CPU. So we know we had an issue with CPU here. So I can make that there. So the resource is that resource. The condition, I can go add a condition here, and I can go signal type, and I'm going to go CPU. Let's go find app CPU usage, and we want to go CPU here. Okay, there's app CPU usage there. And then when it goes aggregate, you can see what the aggregate is, but then I can go dynamic. Remember that dynamic view there? So now watch this out. Now it's going to analyze the metrics that I have, and you can see there, that's the norm, and that spike there, and that spike is when I hit it with 1 million transactions. That is not the norm. Now I can actually say, great, aggregation type, threshold sensitivity, high or low. If I go high, it's actually going to change that metric there also. If I go low, and then if I go done, it's going to actually set my alert there, and then I can do an action rule around that. And that's very important. Now, the action rule, I can just go add action group, and I've set up an action group here before, and it's just going to email me 2 email action group results there. And then I can save that there. Action rule details, Rory's rule, and Rory's rule. And then I can just save that and create it. Now, if the CPU does go above, now it's going to actually go in and email me. Please don't test this app because it's going to email me often. I'm going to go delete this app there. But that's how you set up an alert. You look at the metrics, you set up the threshold, the dynamic threshold, and then it gives you the ability to do that. So let's go now and back to and recover from that. And let's go look at whether we can see that page view of whether we improve the performance. And then we'll carry on with the PowerPoint presentation, and I'll end off. So let's go application insights here. And we want to go into application map. And I want to see the page view and see if hopefully the telemetry is valid, because I did hit it with 1 million transactions. So it might take a few seconds to get into and process all of those millions there. So let's go into the performance. If not, then I can actually show you what I did before. I want to go last 30 minutes there, 807, and click apply. Okay, it's not actually going to come through because I think I did hit it with a few too many transactions here with the samples here. So we might actually be overzealous with that. But if I go into the last 30 days, no, not the last 30 days, last 3 days, you'll see there that I did actually demo this here. And if I go into 3 seconds, let's go into a little bit clicker. So you can see there, I actually got it down to 1.25 seconds. And if I zoom in there, in the beginning of my testing, I had it at 3 seconds, exactly what we had. Then I changed the CPU and the memory and eventually found the right connection, and I got it down to 849 milliseconds. And that really was my troubleshooting around my CPU to get the element there, and I can drill into that sample there, and that sample is exactly what we had with the Chrome end-to-end transaction plugin with that a nice service pulling out the vets and customer services there. So yeah, so if we can open up for questions, and hopefully by then the telemetry will be finished and we can look at exactly what we need to do and going forward. So let me go back into my PowerPoint and we can open up for questions. So the workshop, I went through all of those examples there. I'm not going to just harbor onto those. And I just want to go through the 7 best practices. So first, enable monitoring on everything. It's very cheap to monitor, enabled on SDKs, Azure pipelines. You saw when I did it on the actual front end, what a huge difference it did that. And infrastructure, VMs, containers, networks is bucket your Azure resources and resource groups and monitor them with similar resources. Ensure quality control with CI/CD. So if it does trigger something, you can run a pipeline. Actionable alerts and notifications. You saw how I did dynamic alerts with thresholds, and it was pretty easy. Role-based dashboards and workbooks for reporting, and then optimize with build, measure, learn. So I'm going to open up for questions, and we're going to hopefully get the telemetry back there. Okay, Cornel, open up for questions. Did we get any questions?
No, everybody seems informed or asleep. I don't know.
Broke them, hey, their mind just went, Pwah! I did a live demo, pushed it with Spring Cloud, H2 database, Azure Spring Cloud, and then I managed to actually break with 1 million transactions. And let's see, I'm really hoping this comes back, but I think I was a bit too overzealous. Like I said to you, I did try to break it. Right now, the funnel is so big. It's like got 1 million alerts coming in, metrics, and it's just like kind of trying to process them. So let's see if I can performance.
I think look at live metrics because they should show up there, right?
I want to do the last, not 24 hours, last 30 minutes. I want to go to browser metrics. Yeah, so let's go to browser metrics. It still doesn't want to do that. So it'll come eventually. I think the funnel.
No, look at live. I think you'll see it in there, won't you?
Ah, yeah, you're right, actually. So, but metrics.
On the right.
Yeah, you're right. So we want to do metrics. We want to do Tomcat request count, Tomcat global, threads current, sessions create, active max, Tomcat global, threads max, global, yeah, global request average time. I'll actually request max. Let's go request average time. Let's see that. Okay, so we got that. Oh, you're right. Look at that. Well, no, let's just see there. 8 o'clock.
This is still out of. Now you want to look at the live metrics. It was on that same tab where you were just now. If you go back.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go to Azure Spring Cloud. I see what you mean. I'm in the wrong tab.
That one on the top right.
Yeah, live metrics. And then I think you can do delay some time for it though.
Yeah, you've got the last minute or so.
Seconds. Yeah, so if I go here and then I go owners and all, I'll see a live metric for actual service here, and then edit owner and submit. So then I can go back into the live metrics, and you can see the if I make it a little bit bigger, the duration time for the exception rule, the server rule here. Yeah, there we go, the request duration. So the request duration there. So it did take, yeah, but the problem is that the request duration, you have to filter it on the API gateway. So if I go API gateway here, so let's go API gateway, and then that'll filter it here, and then you'll get the actual request. So let's do that again. Find owners. No, that's the wrong one. And there we go. Find owners all. And if I go into home, owners all, and then I go here and sorry, live metrics. No, it's not actually coming through, but it's there we go. A request duration. There we go. Okay, so that was a bit too quick. Request rate.
But you see now you're getting the stuff directly from the API gateway, so the
yeah, I want
it's not all in there.
Yeah, I want all. I want the whole all of the services here. So reset here. Let's see if I get the metrics back again. I think I actually broke it. Like I said to you, I really wanted to break it, but this time I actually managed to break it. And let's go into performance.
Oh, you've got an alternate opportunity if you don't want to do DevRel, is you can go into QA.
I don't think it's going to come around. Okay.
Stuff.
Cool. Thank you, everyone, for watching me break stuff today. And you learned a lot around troubleshooting. You can see there that it actually shows you, this is what I want to show you, the delta actually shows you the improvements of the speed. So when I did do that for the last 12 hours, and I got it to actually do that. So from the one, it actually tells you when I, that was, sorry, I want to go the last 12 hours. It actually tells you the data, the delta. So if I zoom into there and I go there, click on that, it'll actually say what the delta is. So if I clicked on that, when I fixed it, the API gateway, it will tell you what each one is though. So if I click on that, it'll tell you there that I actually improved 50% because I increased the CPU and memory by 50%. I went from 1 CPU to 2 CPUs and 2 gigs of RAM, and it actually increased it by 50%. And that if the other telemetry, if I hadn't done 1 million transactions, would have actually come through with that.
I mean, the gateway I can do with CPU.
I didn't actually restart. You know what? I didn't actually restart the gateway. And it probably
no, remember when you applied it went down, so it must have come up with the new numbers.
I should actually try and restart it. Usually I do restart it.
No, look there, it shows your vCPU is now 2 and your memory is 4. So
it may have lost the telemetry also, but let's just see. Let me just restart it again and see if it comes through. Okay, so that's everything I want to leave you with. It was a lot to take on telemetry and everything. So have a look at the Java and Azure view, the learn path. We have other learn paths also that the team that I work with have painstakingly gone through. So that's the aka.ms/Java-learn path. I'll put it in the chat here. And we've got everything but introduction to Java and Azure, choosing the right Azure path, Spring Boot apps, Java web app, microservices. So introduction to Spring Cloud, real-time event-driven solutions, Jakarta EE on Azure using JBoss EAP, just tons and tons and tons of stuff, nice stuff, and it's all for free because they don't pay me enough to actually charge you back. Okay, cool. Thank you so much. Thanks for Cornel for giving me the opportunity to speak to you. and hopefully my telemetry will come back eventually. And I did note to self, don't hit it with 1 million transactions when you're actually trying to do a live demo. It did kind of make it feel good when it came up there, and when I restarted the API gateway, because it was a nice little instance though, but I think I just overdid it.
Oh, the app worked, but you hit the telemetry server so hard that it's now busy.
I think I broke it. I need feedback to the product team. I need feedback to the product team to say, listen, when you hit it with 1 million transactions and it doesn't come back live, they know, what are you doing, Rory? Why are you bothering us here with these weird performance nonsensical issues? Let's just go last hour. Okay, last, but yeah. Okay, no, it's not actually going to come back. Okay, thanks everyone, and back to you, Cornel.
Okay, let me do this. Thank you, Rory. This was great. There's remember to, I think, share that link, or maybe just
I'll put it in the chat window here,
and so that everybody can go back and explore at their leisure, because there's a lot to take in. But I mean, literally without it, you're blind. And if you're not going to go back and add logging statements to your application and redeploy it, you're just wasting a lot of time when you could have resolved the problem and actually known what was going on. So I mean, investing in tools, this is one of the ways we should be doing it, to get visibility at runtime. And remember, even though your application might not be a huge application with a lot of users, there are actors out there who are going to try and hurt you just because they want to take over your machine and mine Bitcoin or whatever. If you want to have fun, put a server live and then look at the web server logs, and then you'll see what I mean. They're trying all the time. It's like you're standing in the rain and it never stops. So I don't know how many of you have applications in production and you get the chance to get close to production. If you work for a bank, they won't even let you in the building where it is. But I've always been interested in getting close to what the application does, because you learn a lot and you learn to understand how some of these things hang together. And what's important as a developer, you need to be able to produce these things. And OpenTelemetry is, at long last, a standard that gives us everything. Because previously, if you had open metrics, you could just collect metrics, but that didn't talk about error logs and things like that. And now OpenTelemetry closes the loop on all those aspects. So you can collect performance, errors, and events, and you get tracing as well, all combined into one API. And then with cloud providers that allow you to surface that information in a sensible way, it makes it very easy. So jump in, have a look, discuss, ask questions, and learn. If you stop learning, go do plumbing or carpentry or something that hasn't changed for 100 years, because this game is going to be different next week. And if you haven't been learning, you're going to be out of the game soon.
It literally was different because we only enabled agent-based monitoring for application services like 2 weeks ago. So before you had to and kind of structure it differently. Now, this week, you saw I just pushed the application there. I enabled application insights just because it's a very small billing charge on Azure. And then it just did end-to-end monitoring with my H2 database. And then you don't have to do anything more after that.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, and that's the beauty when you use Spring, because you just add another dependency to support the telemetry or the cloud provider or whatever, and you redeploy your application, and off you go. And it's not like you're rewriting your logging code or any of that kind of stuff. And you can get sophisticated. So you can push out traces. I've got an app where I've embedded a BPM, and all I do is I've got a listener on the BPM events, and I publish those out as to my traces. And I'm laughing at the guy who's running IBM BPM Monitor, because he's paying through his nose for that thing, and I'm getting the same service with the cloud built in. So go have fun, and keep asking questions, because you might discover something, you might wake up something in somebody else, and keep learning and be safe. And if you're not vaccinated, go get vaccinated. I'm not even going to be funny about that. It is for your safety and for everybody else around you. Go well.
You could see, yeah, you saw that I named my Spring Boot application Booster, because I'm already on. I'm already onto that Booster.
Yeah, I wish my wife can get it, because she.
Yeah, but I'm going to compete with some
12.
I'm going to compete with some 12-year-old now who's got legally entitled to that. I will beat a 12-year-old. That's my vaccine.
You sound like my son, because he was so upset when he discovered he was on the wrong side of the last line, and he says, "Now I'm going to get in the line with children." So now, everybody, look after yourself, look after your families, and thanks for joining us. And I will get this coupon to Abel. Everybody here, I'm going to. I think please connect to Slack and just let me know you were here. And then in the next meetup at the start, I will put you into the lucky wheel for the coupon. If you don't need the license, that's fine. We had one person the one evening who was the only one, so they just got the license, and that was great. But thank you for joining us, and be